Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lost and Not Found podcast. Hi everyone. I'm your host Frudler, and welcome to the Lost and Not Found podcast, a beacon of hope for those feeling adrift in the sea of life. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, and remind you that tough times are just temporary. Join us as we navigate through these storms together, finding direction and purpose in the chaos. Remember, you may be lost, but you're not alone. And we're gonna start off with our disclaimer here. Please note that the content shared on the Lost and Not Found podcast is based solely on my personal opinions and experiences. I'm not a certified professional or expert in the topics discussed. The podcast is intended to share my personal insights and should not be considered professional advice. If you require expert assistance or advice, I strongly recommend seeking help from a qualified professional in the relevant field. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, this is a journey we're all on together. Well, welcome everybody. And today, we're diving into episode 6 now. Wow, we did a couple of these. So we're diving into episode 6, and today the topic is what to do when you feel overwhelmed. So this is definitely a topic that is prevalent to me. Actually, all the topics are pretty prevalent to me as of recent, but this one especially. So why I chose this topic. So I was feeling overwhelmed is a common experience in today's fast-paced world, and it's something many of us grapple with on a regular basis. Being overwhelmed can stem from various sources. Excuse me there. Being overwhelmed can stem from various sources, such as including work, relationships, or personal challenges. And personally, I have been feeling overwhelmed as of late for the YouTube channel and stuff, but nothing too crazy. But I think it's something that is prevalent to talk about. So that's why I want to explore more effective strategies for coping and regaining a sense of balance. And halfway through this, we'll open the floor up to some comments and to some questions if anyone has any. But for the people tuning in that are live, or people that are watching the recording or listening to the recording, welcome. So let's go into the definition of what it means to be overwhelmed. Sorry. Excuse me right there. But so feeling overwhelmed refers to a state of being mentally or emotionally overloaded, often accompanied by feelings of stress, anxiety, or helplessness. It can result from having too many responsibilities, commitments, or expectations, leaving us feeling unable to cope with demands placed upon us. So it's when you're getting, swamped with too many things. You're trying to juggle too many things at once. You're trying to balance too many hats. And that can lead to you being overwhelmed. You and I being overwhelmed. So being overwhelmed can manifest physically, emotionally, and cognitively, affecting our ability to function effectively in various areas of our lives. Because it's like diluting our attention and everything. And as we get spread out more and more, it can decrease our, our effectiveness and our overall ability to function as effective as we can when we start to focus on things. But let's go into recognizing the signs of being overwhelmed. Physical symptoms. So, there's fatigue, headaches, muscle tension, and changes in appetite or sleep patterns. So you can, sorry. There's I think it's allergies or something. So my apologies for that. But there can be a loss of appetite if you're feeling really stressed and overwhelmed. So you're not gonna want to eat much. Or you can feel like you need to eat a lot. You start snacking a lot. So it's either of those two. And then sleeping. Your sleep pattern can get really distorted, as in you're not able to fall asleep right away because there's too many things on your mind, leading to improper rest, which leads to, if you get improper rest, you're probably starting off your day in a bad light, and that kind of leads into the day, then it goes on to the next, and it kind of, snowball effect. And then next is emotional symptoms. So there's irritability, mood swings, anxiety, and feelings of sadness or hopelessness are common signs of being overwhelmed. And then cognitive symptoms, which is like difficulty concentrating, racing thoughts, forgetfulness, and indecisiveness, can all be indicators of being overwhelmed. So what are some coping strategies for when we feel overwhelmed? So we'll start off with one of them is prioritize and delegate. So you want to identify the most important tasks and focus on completing them first, and delegate responsibilities when possible to lighten your load. So depending on setting you're in, let's say you're working with a team and you just, your boss is giving you too much work and you're just feeling swamped, overwhelmed, and like, I don't think I can handle all this. You want to be able to communicate this to, your boss and maybe your team. Say, hey, can any of you help me possibly lighten the load, or discuss with someone to be like, hey, this is a lot for me right now. How can we think of a solution or some type of system to make it so we can make the work can get done, but we also make it so it's more manageable. And then next is break tasks into smaller steps. So you can start to feel overwhelmed so overwhelming tasks become more manageable when broken down into smaller actionable steps, focusing on completing one step at a time. Because when you look at let's say you're starting a new project, if you look at it as a whole, it can be very overwhelming because you're like, oh my, like, look how many things need to get done. Like, it has to be this, that, and there's so many steps. And you're like, oh my, it's getting so crazy. But you say, okay, then just take things one step at a time. Make it and break it down into smaller, more accomplishable goals and tasks. And then those all start to add up. And then, the sooner than later, you realize, oh wow, we actually got really far. And we may have almost like completed the entire task at hand just because we focused on doing small things at a time. And then practice self-care many times. Make time for activities that recharge and rejuvenate you, such as exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, or engaging in hobbies and enjoy. Yes, you want to always re-energize. That's very important. Set boundaries. Learn to say no to additional commitments or requests that exceed your capacity. Establishing clear boundaries helps protect your time and energy. Yes, because depending on your personality type and everything, different people, some people are the ones that say yes. The boss will just hand you a bunch of stuff, not even caring. Like, do this, do that, do this, do that. And then the employee or whoever's working just like, yeah, sure, okay, I'll do it, just because they're saying yes to everything to try and please everybody and make sure things go smoothly. But that is not always okay. You want to set boundaries for yourself and say you don't want to get taken advantage of. You don't just want to be like everyone shoving work onto you. You want to just set proper boundaries and say, hey, this is too much. Like, you guys got to help me out. Like, you're just overworking me. You are, you're they're not respecting you, and that is something you have to stand up for yourself and be like, it's too much right now. I can't handle that all right now, which is okay. That's okay. So, but you got to communicate that. That's very, very, if you don't communicate it, no one's going to know nor care. And then seek support. Reach out to friends, family members, or colleagues for support and encouragement. Talking to someone you can trust provides perspective and validation. Exactly, getting second opinions or asking other people for advice can always be a bonus. Take breaks. This is similar to the self-care part. Schedule regular breaks throughout your day to rest and recharge. Even short breaks can prevent burnout and improve productivity. Because if you have to tackle a lot of things at once, then it's like, I think when it's studying too, it's like, what is it, 2 hours max? Like, before retention starts to drop down a whole bunch. I forgot the statistic, but I know when I was in college, they're like saying, because people do all-nighters, but like, I think the science behind it is like, honestly, you can get like at best 2 hours of really focusing before like everything after that, your retention and everything goes down. So it's like, you can't just study for like 12 hours essentially and absorb everything. Well, at least most people can't. So you have to take breaks here and there, and be sure to take breaks. So practice mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing exercises or progressive muscle relaxation can reduce stress and promote a sense of calm. You wanna make sure your mind is refocused and also feeling relaxed as well. And seek professional help if needed. If feelings of overwhelm persist or interfere with your daily functioning, consider seeking support from a therapist or counselor, or seeking professional advice. Now, if anyone's here, do we have any comments or questions? I'll open the floor just a little bit, but welcome. I'll wait just a couple seconds if anyone has any comments to add or questions, but if not, I can also continue. Alrighty. I don't think we have any comments, so we're gonna go into our second half, which is embracing imperfection. Release the pressure to be perfect. So accept that it's okay to make mistakes and experience setbacks. Embrace imperfection as a natural part of the human experience. You want to cultivate self-compassion, treat yourself with kindness and understanding, especially during the challenging times. Offer yourself the compassion you would extend to a friend facing similar struggles. And focus on progress, not progression. I think this is a very important point to point out that you want to celebrate the small victories and progress, even if it's not perfect, and recognize that every step forward is a step in the right direction. Because we all start somewhere at the end of the day. It's not going to be perfect, but it takes time. So understanding that, just starting off is huge, and not forgetting that and be like, okay, with every step we take, even though we may misstep here or there, it's all helping us move forward in the end. And then next is the personal reflection. So now this is the part where I share my personal reflection on how this has been, how this topic has resonated with me. So as you can tell, yeah, recently I've been overwhelmed, kind of. Especially yesterday, if you can see my community post, there's a lot of things not going my way, especially in the morning yesterday. It was like I felt burnt out and tired from the having to act on that one new stream for the Fall Guys. So that took a lot out of me and I was very nervous. And then I had to plan all this other stuff. And then, I had copyrighted on YouTube, and then, my TikTok got taken down. And it was really just everything started to go downhill at once. And it was really, really discouraging and disheartening. And it was just so many things that were making my head spin. And I felt really overwhelmed. But you know what? I took some time off. I, got some clear air, if that's the proper word for it. I cleared my head, and then, everything in the end worked out. My YouTube got fine. It's no longer copyrighted. My TikTok got re-verified, and the streams yesterday went really well. So it was really re-energizing. So I think sometimes just taking a step back, once again, when you feel overwhelmed, just be like, okay, let's just take a small step back and reassess the situation. Take a breather, because you don't always have to be in such a rush. Because I think that's one of my faults too, is that I'm always in such a rush and I always get caught up in everything. I gotta get things now. I gotta get this. I gotta get that. I gotta make this. And then I get really, really overwhelmed because I'll start to have a lot of ideas, but then I'll have more ideas than I have time in the day and or energy to create, because it takes a lot of effort to make all these things. So then my brain will be racing with so many things to do for the channel. But then realistically what I can accomplish is not it's not possible within that time. So it's I have to work on, setting better boundaries with myself and, segmenting things, taking smaller steps here and there, focusing on the small victories, of course. And, maybe taking things slower and moving smaller. I don't have to get such huge progress all the time and within the instant. I can have smaller progress and smaller victories and doing small things here and there and have everything build up, rather than trying to do a whole entire, parade in one day. Because then if that's the goal, it's gonna be too overwhelming, because it's like I'm setting myself up for unrealistic expectations, which is leading to my ultimate downfall. So it's to set more realistic goals and then to say, okay, what needs to get done now? What can wait? And really trying to make it more achievable. So instead of setting a huge goal, saying, "Oh, let's hit 1 million subscribers in a day," that's not realistic. Let's say, hey, what can we do to improve things? What can I do to make my videos a little better? And focusing on all the small things now, and then taking that experience, and then going on to the next ideas later. I think that is how I should reapproach things, so I don't get too overwhelmed. But we'll see. But yeah, so now we've come to the conclusion. It was a little longer today, but not too long for the podcast. So as we conclude this episode of the Lost and Not Found podcast, we've explored the common experience of being overwhelmed and effective strategies for coping with these challenges. While being overwhelmed can feel daunting and paralyzing, we've learned that there are practical steps we can take to regain a sense of balance and control in our lives. By prioritizing self-care, setting boundaries, and seeking support when needed, we can navigate through being overwhelmed with resilience and grace. Moreover, we've embraced the importance of embracing imperfection and cultivating self-compassion in the face of being overwhelmed. By releasing the pressure to be perfect and focusing on progress rather than perfection, we can alleviate unnecessary stress and cultivate a greater sense of peace and fulfillment. As we continue our journey of self-discovery and growth, I encourage you to remember that it's okay to feel overwhelmed at times. Be gentle with yourself, practice self-care, and remember that you're not alone in facing these challenges. Thank you again for joining us on this exploration of what it's like to be overwhelmed, and your courage, resilience, and authenticity inspire us all. Until next time, take care and remember that you are capable of overcoming any challenge that comes your way. Thank you to everybody that tuned into the Lost and Not Found podcast today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and take care. Goodbye now.